Fabulous. Hold the line. Okay, now I'm not. Let me do that over again. I'd like to call this meeting of the Municipal Council to order at 6 p.m. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Mr. Withers, would you kindly do a roll call vote for attendance, and then we'll read the special meeting notice.
I don't see Mr. Withers on here.
Oh, I thought I saw him. Did he get bumped off?
I don't think I saw him.
I didn't see him up on the screen either.
Gross.
I know he's home and ready because I talked to him.
Maybe a technicality.
Perhaps. We'll give him a minute. Okay, thank you. Virginia's calling him. She just talked to him, so he's joining now. Does everybody have their motions and emergency? There's two emergencies, one for budget, one for capital improvements and city development. You both have them, Richard and Jay?
Yes.
Okay, and then the new business item, Richard, you have that? Virginia sent it via email to you.
Unmute yourself.
Richard's not at his desk, Mark.
Yeah, it looks like you just stepped away.
Your bow tie looks really nice tonight.
Thanks. Figured I had to get back to some sort of normalcy.
Yeah. Hi, Steve.
Steve,
All right, my apologies, everybody.
No worries, Steve. I did call the meeting to order, the special meeting of the Municipal Council to order at 6 o'clock, but we'll do it one more time because, I had to do it. First time I was muted. So I'd like to call this special meeting of the Municipal Council to order at 6:03. Mr. Withers, would you kindly do a roll call vote for attendance and then read the special meeting notice?
Certainly.
Mr. Conti did step away for a moment, but I did see him on the initial Zoom.
Okay, Mr. Blair,
Yeah.
Ms. Desimone,
Here.
Mr. Waterman, Mr. Waterman, Mr. Waterman,
No.
was that a yay?
You're on mute, Ty.
Yeah.
He's raising his hand.
Vice President Jackson,
Here.
Mr. Lucio,
Here.
Mr. Gulbis,
Here.
Ms. Dolan,
Here.
Ms. Reynolds,
Here.
Ms. Holmes,
Present.
President Cooper,
Here.
and Mr. Conti stepped away, but he's here. So everyone is in attendance.
Thank you.
All right, now read the notice.
Yes,
April
sir.
20, April 24th, 2020, members of the municipal council from Mark J. Cooper, council president. Councilors, by authority of Article 2, Section 2-7C of the Attleboro Home Rule Charter, I hereby call for a special meeting of the municipal council as follows. Date, Tuesday, April 28th, 2020, time 6 p.m. Place is a remote link, and the purpose is to discuss any legal matters before the council. Sincerely, Mark J. Cooper, council president. CC Mayor Paul Haru.
Thank you very much. And at this time, I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Jackson. The purpose of suspending the rules this evening is we are clearly doing something a bit different, being on Zoom, but we're getting a little better at it every time. And we are going to recess to have committee meetings this evening as well. With that said, we'll have a roll call vote, and we'll begin with Councillor Holmes, I believe.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes. Yes. Steve?
Steve, we lost you.
you lost me?
We
Yeah,
did.
we got you.
We lost you at Councillor Reynolds.
Okay, so so yes.
Am I back?
Yes.
You are.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Gulbis,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
He was on mute.
Ms. Desimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes. We are operating under suspended rules. At this time, we'll move on to the public hearings. And Mr. Withers, would you kindly read the notice for the first public hearing this evening?
Yes, it's a continued public hearing relative to the administration's program year 2020 CDBG entitlement budget for the period of July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, and program year 2020 annual action plan for the period of July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021.
Thank you all. We are going to continue that public hearing till May 5th. Had some conversation via email with Dorothy Brissett. There is an opportunity for the city to get some money through the CARES Act through CDBG. So she wants to, that'll affect the 2020 budget. So she is going to come on 5/5 and give us an update on that and any impacts to the 2019 CDBG budget that may be in order as a result of the city receiving some funds. So I did send her response to Councilor Conti today, this afternoon, and we will continue that public hearing till May 5th, and she will join by Zoom, so she will need the link for that. Any other questions on that? Okay, moving right along to the mayor's. So that public hearing is continued till 5/5. We'll move right to the mayor's communication.
You can do that before you committee?
Yeah, because there's nothing in the mayor's communication tonight
That's true.
that's going to be voted
I'm
tonight
sorry,
other
yeah.
than the two emergencies. Yep.
All right. April 28th, 2020, dear municipal councilors, I respectfully submit a communication from Council on Aging Director Madeline McNeely regarding the donation of $300 in Stop and Shop gift cards from the Holiday Spirit Committee. In accordance with Section 1-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body to accept this generous donation to the City of Attleboro. Copies in your packets.
City Property and Claims Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Parks and Forestry regarding the need for ordinance changes to increase fees charged by the Board of Recreation Commissioners and
Steve, we lost you again. Are you back?
Am I there? Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, we lost you for a minute, but just so we're clear, we're going to waive the reading of the ordinance And that matter, item number 2, is going to Ordinances, Elections, and Legislative Matters Committee. Councillor Holmes, this matter does require a public hearing. Would you like to call for that public hearing on May 19th?
Please, thank you.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, we have to do a roll call vote. I'm
Yep.
sorry. Roll call vote will begin with Councillor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. Desimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti, Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Mr. Gulbis,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
10 yeas.
Lost him again.
10 yeas, 1 abstention, motion passes. And you know what, Steve, you know what I'll do? I'll just keep going through the communication, and I will just assign them unless anyone needs them read. We'll read the 2 emergency measures just so they're read into the record.
Okay.
All right. So item number 3 is Personnel and Human Services. Item number 4, Public Works. Item number 5, Public Works. Item number 6, Public Works. Item number 7, Public Works. Item number 8, Zoning and Land Use. Item number 9, City Property and Claims.
I keep cutting out all the time.
Number 10, we should, Steve, are you connected? Because I'll just read it if you want.
I believe so, yes.
All right, can everybody hear him all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So Steve, if you want to read items number 10.
Yes, I will. I respectfully submit a communication from City Auditor Deborah Gould regarding the receipt of a CARES Act relief payment in the amount of $53,428.78. The payment was received as the city is a Medicare fee-for-service provider. To accept the funds from the U.S. government, the city needed to meet certain criteria as it relates to being a provider of health care. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body approve expending of such funds consistent with the terms and conditions of the CARES Act relief payment. Please note, official acceptance of the funds is required by the federal government online and is time sensitive, 30 days from April 17th, 2020. In accordance with Article 2, Section 2-9B of the City Charter of the City of Attleboro, I respectfully request your honorable body to consider this as an emergency measure.
Budget and Appropriations Committee, please. Item number 11 is also Budget and Appropriation Committee, and item number 12.
I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Council on Aging, Madeline McNeely, regarding the need for emergency funds to replace the hot water tank at the Reverend Larson Senior Center. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $7,450 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Council on Aging Building Maintenance. Upon approval, the available balance in Reserve Fund for transfer to include any pending requests will be $39,575.54. In accordance with Article 2, Section 2-9B of the City Charter of the City of Attleboro, I respectfully request your honorable body to consider this as an emergency measure. Copies in your packets.
Capital Improvements and City Development, please.
Sincerely, Paul Haru, Mayor.
Thank you. Now moving to communication number 2. And Steve, because we need to call for a public hearing in the nature of the matter, we should probably read this one in its entirety into the record.
Okey-doke. April 28th, 2020, number 2. Dear municipal councilors, as your honorable body may recall, the replacement of the water main on the Deanville Road in the area of 195 or I-95 and I-295 State Highway interchange are categorized as urgent in the fiscal year 2021 through 2025 capital improvements program. The design, bidding, general engineering, and residential engineering for this project was funded by retained earnings and voted by the Honorable Municipal Council on June 18th, 2018, item number 3. The design amendment number 1 was funded from retained earnings and voted by the Honorable Municipal Council on September 26, 2018.
Oh, we lost you for a minute, Steve. He did-
Advertising, $86,000 for a total project cost of $936,000. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to approve the following loan order. Ordered that $946,000 is appropriated for the permitting, bidding, construction oversight, and construction costs associated with the replacement of this water main, including the road restoration on Deanville Road in Attleboro, Mass., collectively the project, including payment of all costs related thereto, of which amount up to $10,000 may be used for costs associated with the issuance of bonds or notes for this purpose. That to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow $946,000 under Section 8, subsection 5 of Chapter 44 of the general laws, or any other enabling authority, that the mayor is authorized to take any action necessary or convenient to carry out this project. Any premium received by the city upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this order, less any such premium applied to the payment of the cost of issuance of such bonds or notes, may be applied to the payment of costs approved by this order in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 20 of the general laws, thereby reducing the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs by a like amount.
Capital Improvements and City Development Committee, Councillor Waterman. I don't see Councillor Conti back. I know he was having some computer issues. So this does require a public hearing, and being the vice, I believe you're the vice chair of Capital Improvements and City Development. Would you like to call for a committee meeting on May 19th?
May 19th is great. Thank you.
Perfect. That will require a roll call vote, and the vote will begin with Councillor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes.
Mr. President, did you mean a public hearing,
What did I say?
committee meeting?
Oh, yes, requires a public hearing on May 19th. Sorry about that. Thanks for catching that, Laura.
Sure.
So we need a roll call vote for a public hearing on this matter for May 19th. Roll call vote will begin with Councillor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Gulbis.
Yes.
Mr. Lucio. Mr. Lucio.
Muted.
Sorry, I
Jay.
was on mute. Yes.
I'm going to say yes, because I can't hear Steve.
I'm not muted.
You're back on.
I don't know what's going on. Sorry. Mr. Lucio.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Mr. Conti, is he back? Ms. Desimone.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I heard was Desimone.
I heard Peter say yes.
Okay, thank you. 10 yeas, 0 nays.
You did you say me?
Oh, I'm sorry, President Cooper.
Yes,
10 yeas, 0 nays. I'm sorry, I'm a little unglued here with this thing.
that's all right. Motion passes. Thank
Oh,
you.
really? All right. And that was sincerely Paul Haru, Mayor, so that takes
Now
care of that.
moving on to there's only one other clerk's communication. We want to do that one?
Yep, can you hear me?
I can.
A Massachusetts Electric and Verizon New England petition to replace and relocate a broken pole at 14 Walnut Street, including lighting and riser.
License committee, please. There is no public hearing required for this matter because this is a replacement and relocation of the pole.
Beautiful. And that is all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd entertain a motion to recess to go into committee meetings.
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Jackson. We'll require a roll call vote and begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair.
You're
Mr.
muted,
Blair.
Peter.
Hello?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Ms. Desimone.
Yes.
Mr. Conti back? No?
No.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Mr. Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Lucio.
Yes.
Mr. Gulbis.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes,
10 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you. Motion passes. We are recessed and we'll go to committees, starting with Councillor Blair.
Good evening. Public Safety and Emergency Management has no business this evening, but we request a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you.
Come on up 4 times. I don't know what to do.
You're up.
President Cooper,
No,
trans,
this is for your committee, right?
yes.
Okay.
Transportation and Traffic has no business. I would just like to report that although the ability exists to meet, the mayor has asked that boards and commissions not meet unless absolutely necessary. So we're on pause until further notice.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Who's next?
So since Richard's not here, do you want me to go
Yeah,
next?
well, yeah, let's come back to Rick at the end and let
Okay.
him see if he sorts it out. If not, there's one thing in his committee that Council Waterman can do, which is just calling for a public hearing. So
You're almost
So,
out tired. You need to plug in.
I'd like to call the Public Works Committee meeting to order, and it is 6:22. Do I have a second?
Hour.
Second.
Thank you ever so much. I only have one item of business that I'm bringing out this evening. From the docket of April 21st, 2020, I entertain a motion to declare the following water department equipment as surplus and available for disposition. Pool's high lift pump, which is already removed from service. A used furnace burner, which is also removed from service. And a 6-inch water meter removed from service as well. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. This speaks for itself. These are unused property that we they no longer need. Thank you. Any comments, questions? Great.
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Before I adjourn the Public Works Committee, I did just want to mention, because I know the public can hear us too, a longstanding member of the Attleboro Police Department, Jim Dufort, passed away, unfortunately. Calling hours were today, his funeral service, which, you know, this is being held in a different way, tomorrow. And I was very, very pleased. I mean, after so many years of service, I think it's 37 years, a great guy, super, super nice guy. Show up at my doorstep sometimes because he was my constituent, but he'd just show up on my front porch sometimes. He'd just have a problem and, you know, ring the doorbell, and he just a nice guy. You'd see him out doing, once he retired, he was still actively involved in doing side jobs, and, you know, he sold wood, you know, for people who had the outdoor fireplaces. Just a nice man. He left 2 sons and his wife Dolores. Let's just salute him. That's a long time serving the city. I just want to remember him.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'd like
Thank you, Kate.
Works.
thank you, Kate.
Well said. Thank you.
I'd like to call Public Works Committee meeting an adjournment at 6:25. Sorry to get
Thank you.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. We are adjourned.
And I would like to call budget and appropriations to order at 6:25. From the docket of April 7th, 2020, I entertain a motion to authorize the Attleboro Public Schools to pay $186.56 from fiscal 2019 obligation as identified in a communication from Mr. Furtado. It's a bill to pay NCS Pearson.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. As we've been doing, so this is another situation where a fiscal obligation was not received in time to be processed in the normal fiscal 19 business cycle. So now it has to come in front of the council in order to have us vote to pass it. I believe this was for test booklets for Hyman Fine School. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And I would like to adjourn budget and appropriations. Actually, before I do that, just a couple of things really quick. I want to take a minute and thank the Attleboro Fire and Attleboro Police Departments and all the healthcare workers for everything they're doing during these trying times during this pandemic. What a lot of people might realize is these heroes haven't been able to see their families in weeks or some even months. So just message to all the healthcare workers, especially those sitting around, well, what used to be a horseshoe is now kind of a Brady Bunch grid. Thank you for all that you do. And, you have a whole city behind you. So thank you. Last announcement is we are doing a second drive-through food drive this Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 1 at the Sanford Street parking lot behind the YMCA. There's a big need for food out there. There's a lot of people who found themselves in situations that they never expected they'd find themselves in. And as we've been saying, Attleboro is at its best when we all come together, and Councillor Gulbis, Senator Feeney, State Rep Hawkins, former Councillor Vice President Heather Parika, we've all come together to work with 3 food pantries, St. Teresa's, St. Joseph's Food Cellar, and Hebron Food Pantry for donations. So this is the second one, and we were humbled beyond words with the generosity of the community back at the beginning of April. And, we're looking forward to it again. And for those who need help, there's no shame in asking for it, especially in these times. So you got an entire city behind you, and I know that the generosity will be there again. So thank you. And with that being said, I'd like to call for an adjournment at 6:28.
Second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And we are adjourned at 6:28.
I would like to call the Personnel and Human Services Committee together at 6:28. And from the docket of April 21st, 2020, I would entertain a motion to confirm the appointment of J. Stephen Duplessis of Patterson Street to fill the unexpired term on the Attleboro Housing Authority, term to expire February of 2023.
Second.
Thank you. Many of you may know, or at least some of you may know, that Steve served as the pastor of the Good News Bible Church on West Street. And he's there a long time. He retired in 2019. He has a great deal of experience. He's been in on the beginnings and continues to work towards the shelter that we hope to have in a few years here in Attleboro. He's very interested in housing, and the mayor would like to appoint him to the Housing Authority, and there is a vacancy. Is there any questions regarding Steve? My hope is that he would be, I talked to him this evening, he can join us in the hopefully not too distant future when we meet at City Hall and meet with us at that time. But I think right now they could really use his services. That's why I wanted to go ahead and nominate him this evening. So if there's no other questions, I will call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? None. The vote passes 3-0. Thank you. And one other item from the docket of April 21st, 2020, I would also entertain a motion to confirm the appointment of Narvi Deslorias of 60 Dewey Avenue, Attleboro, to fill the expired term on the Attleboro Housing Authority as labor representative, term to expire February 2025. Narvi has been serving right along. She is the current chair of the Attleboro Housing Authority. She's just moving over to be the union representative, which has become vacant.
Second that motion, Ty,
Thank
first.
you very much. I'm sorry I did not call for a second. And Are there any questions regarding this item? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I don't hear any. So thank you. That concludes the business of the Personnel and Human Services Committee for tonight. I would call for an adjournment.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
And we are adjourned. We'll meet at the next appropriate time. Thank you.
So I'd like to call the Capital Improvements and City Development Committee to order at 6:32. Sitting on this committee are Councillor Dolan and Waterman. I have 3 motions for this evening. From the docket of April 21st, 2020, I entertain a motion to approve the expenditure of the Urban Agenda Grant from the Department of Housing and Community Development.
Point of order, Councilor Conti,
Oh, I remember you saying this has been.
yes,
postponed.
this, the second item, which is relative to the fees associated with the, so we can't vote the urban grant till we have the public hearing on the next matter for the fees. So really, the only order,
Have only one motion for my committee tonight.
yes,
From the docket of April 21st, 2020, I entertain a motion to transfer $1,130 from account 112410000-578300 citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 5344030 Mayor Online Services for promotional funds in relation to that downtown business revitalization program. I don't
Second.
think we need to vote that out either, Mark. Because that too is part of the
Yeah, they're all hooked.
whole
They're all
Department of Housing.
that's right. So what, the only thing you need to do this evening is to call for a public hearing on the urban agenda grant and for 6-2. And
So moved.
6-2.
Yep.
Is there a deadline? Excuse me for asking.
oh, wait a minute. Did we say, hold on one second. What did I write down? Oh, I wrote 5/19. I'm sorry. It's May 19th, Councilor Conti, for that public hearing in order to have Catherine Farrett come discuss these 3 items on the same day.
Well, that's much better. So I'm asking for a public hearing on May 19th for the Urban Agenda Grant from the Department of Housing and Community Development. Expecting Catherine Farrett to be in attendance.
That is correct. Somebody second that?
Not yet.
Second.
There we go.
Thank you.
So that completes the business at the.
Don't
Capital
vote it, Rick.
Improvements-
Vote it.
Nope, I have to vote for the public hearing. Councilor Waterman
Yes.
and Councilor Dolan,
Yes.
and I vote yes. It passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank
And
you.
that concludes the business that the Capital Improvement City Development Committee has to bring before the council this evening. We look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Call for an adjournment.
Oh, yes, I'll make a motion to adjourn at 6:34. This is difficult.
Second.
Motion's in order. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank
Now I
you.
declare the Capital Improvement City Development Committee adjourned at 6:34.
Great, thank you.
Am I up next? Zoning and land use is canceled for tonight.
Great.
Licenses Committee is also canceled this evening.
Council Dolan, I actually just call that committee to order quickly so I can comment about this public hearing.
Okay, I'd like to call the Licenses Committee to order at 6:36.
Thank you. If I may, Councilor Dolan, I did talk to Virginia today. I know that she got the contact information for the individual, that the applicant on this matter. This really is just is not a new tank. If this is a new owner.
Right.
So if anybody in reviewing the materials has any questions, please send them to Virginia. This is not, we'll give the gentleman the link to attend the Zoom, but not everybody's as savvy as us, right? So, and not everybody has Council Gulbis to make sure it works for you. So, I don't want the individual to feel any pressure that they have to attend and that we wouldn't be able to answer their questions. So, you know, if any individual counselors have questions about this application, please send them to Virginia so that we can get the answers for you before the public hearing.
Okay, would that be something that I would contact him if anybody had any questions, I could contact the gentleman?
Yeah, I think that's right. I
Okay,
think that's just because of the times that we're in right now, trying to help people through the cumbersome process that we're now having to do with remote meetings.
no, that's fine. That makes sense. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Before I forgot and had to send everybody that in an email, I figured just do it right now.
Okay, does anybody else have any comments or anything? So I'd like to call for an adjournment of licenses committee at 6:37, please.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Licenses adjourned at 6:37. Thank you.
You ready for me, Mark?
I'm ready.
Okay. I'd like to call the City Property and Claims Committee to order at 6:35. Members of my committee present are myself, Councillor Blair, and Councillor Holmes. I have 5 motions this evening. From the docket of April 21st, 2020, I entertain a motion to declare surplus and available for disposition the following: a Life Pack 15 monitor defibrillator V15-2-000051, serial number 381-58075.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns? All those in favor?
I do have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
So, Councilor Reynolds, in the past for these types of pieces of equipment that were still had some
Value.
could be used, is there a plan? I don't remember reading that in the information submitted.
There wasn't anything in the information submitted. It is only one of them. I assume they're either going to disposition it somewhere else, or they're going to give it to the, I think the company that the fire department was in Maine, that they were giving them to at one time.
Okay.
But if you'd like me to check if it's going anywhere, I can do that as well.
I think it's just nice to know where the equipment can be useful to other municipalities. It's just nice for us to know.
Yeah, and I'm just, my assumption was that it was going to the same place they always send it. It's usually the same place in Maine. But I will check on that, Councilor. So
Thank
all
you.
those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and that motion passes. From the docket of April 21st, 2020, I entertain a motion to accept the generous donation of 4 copies of the resource book, India Unveiled, to the Attleboro Public Schools from Mr. and Mrs. Gupta of Carlisle, Mass. Carlisle, Mass.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns? Thank you. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. From the docket of April 21st, 2020, I entertain a motion to declare surplus and available for disposition the following vehicle from the fire department. It's a 2005 Ford Crown Vic. The VIN number is 2FAFP71W55X107562. It has 125,000 miles and the condition is poor.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns? Thank you. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed? Okay, that motion passes. From the docket of April 21st, 2020, I entertain a motion to declare surplus and available for disposition the following copier from the Park and Forestry Department. 1 Rico Officio Color Copier MP C2050, serial number B22949070771, and the condition is very poor.
Second.
Thank you. Again, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Any concerns, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. From the docket of April 21st, 2020, I entertain a motion to declare the following police vehicles as surplus and available for disposition. A 2007 Ford F-250 pickup, one FTS W2 1527 EA51204, VIN number. The miles are 24,724, and it's in poor condition. The second vehicle is a 2011. It's a Ford Crown Vic. The VIN number is 2 FAB P7BV1BX 176314, and it has 88,000 miles, 851. It's in poor condition.
Second.
Thank you. Any one have concerns or questions? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Pete?
Aye.
That motion passes. And that is all the business that the City Property and Claims Committee has this evening. I would like to call for an adjournment at 6:41.
Second.
Thank you. And so we, all those in favor?
Aye.
And we are adjourned at 6:41. Thank you.
Thank you. Ordinance, Elections, and Legislative Matters Committee is canceled this evening.
Okay, is that everybody? I believe it is. Okay. We will move, at this time, I would call the council back to order at 6:41.
Second.
Thank you. And we will go back to committee reports, starting with Councillor Blair.
I have no committee reports to report tonight, Mr. President, but would like a committee meeting next week at the 5 o'clock time.
Thank you. And Councillor Desimone.
President Cooper, I have nothing to report for transportation and traffic, and I would ask for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councillor Conti.
Mr. President, the Capital Improvement and City Development Committee has no business to bring before the council this evening. We look forward to a public hearing on May 19th and the next appropriate meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. There is, Councillor Conti, that emergency assigned to your, one of them is assigned to your committee for the hot water tank at Senior Center.
Yes, I think I missed that.
You did while you were.
So I have it right in front of me. Shall I read it now?
Yes, sir, please.
So I'd like to present to the council an emergency preamble. I move that the Attleboro Municipal Council vote to take the action as provided by the City Charter Section 2-9 B regarding the need for emergency funds to replace the hot water tank at the Reverend Larson Senior Center in the amount of $7,450.
Second.
Who was that?
Oh, that's Ty, second.
Thank you.
So there's nothing, no emergency like a hot water tank that blows up in your basement. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? This is on the emergency preamble. Seeing none, a roll. Did I see somebody? No. A roll call vote is required, and we'll begin with Councillor Holmes, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so. Yep. Ms. Holmes?
Okay, great.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Gulbis?
Yes.
Mr. Lucio?
Yes.
Vice President Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Desimone?
Yes.
Blair?
Yes.
President Cooper?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
So that brings us to the emergency measure from the docket of May 5th, 2020. I move to approve the emergency request of the mayor to transfer $7,450 from account 112410000-578300 citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 154110000 524011, Council on Aging, Building Maintenance, to replace the hot water tank at the senior center.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional questions or comments, Council Conti?
The only comment I can make is that without a hot water heater, that kitchen is inoperable, and the dishwasher that I've become so fond of is completely non-functional. So I urge my councilors to pass this emergency measure to replace the hot water heater to its suite. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments?
President Cooper, who was the second?
Councilor Delicio, I believe.
Yes, Councilor Delicio second.
Thank you.
Thank you. A roll call vote with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. Desimone,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Gulbis,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
That completes the emergency preamble and emergency measure from the Capital Improvement and Appropriations Committee.
Thank you, Councilor Conti. Councilor Waterman.
Yes, from the docket of April 21st, 2020, I would move to confirm the appointment of J. Stephen Duplessis of Patterson Street to fill the unexpired term on the Attleboro Housing Authority, term to expire February 2023.
Second.
Thank you. We already know that he's very interested. He's got a history of helping people that are down and out, that are in trouble, that need housing. I would support this.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, a roll call vote is required, and I forgot who was. Yes.
Mr. Conti's got his hand waving.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Councilor Conti, go ahead.
I really don't know how else to notify you, Mr. President, that I have a comment to make, but Stephen Duplessis is a man that I have known for 35 plus years. And this addition to the Public Housing Authority is a big one. This is a good man who will do a good job in a difficult, sometimes difficult environment. Mr. Duplessis is highly regarded by many people, and he's one of my favorite people in the city, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Councilor Conti. Any additional questions or comments? If you, unfortunately, I can only see a couple of people at the same time on the screen, so if you have something to say, you may just have to blurt it out that you have a comment, just because I can't see everybody at the same time. Any additional questions or comments? Being none, Mr. Withers, are we starting with Councilor Blair?
I believe it's Holmes.
Okay,
I think.
perfect.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Gulbis,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Mrs. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes,
11 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you. Motion passes. Who seconded that, Mr. Withers?
Peter Blair, I have Mr. Blair, I believe.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay,
Is it okay?
yes, sir.
Also from the docket of April 21st, 2020, before I make this motion, I would like to also add that to thank all the people that are working in our nursing homes, the Life Care Center, the Pleasant Street Rest Home. I've had a number of conversations with staff there today with one of the social workers. There's a lot of sick people, and not everybody's sick, but there are a lot of sick people in these homes, and let us keep them in our thoughts and our prayers. And so with that said, I would like to move to confirm the appointment of Narvi Castellacieres. I'm stumbling over the pronunciation, 60 Dewey Avenue, Attleboro, to fill the expired term in the Attleboro Housing Authority as labor representative, term to expire February 2025. She is the current.
Second.
Thank you. She is the current chair, and she's just continuing and sliding over to be the labor representative.
Thank you. Any motion is in order. Any additional questions or comments?
No, very experienced.
Thank you. Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councillor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. Desimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Mr. Gulbis,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
That concludes the business of the Personnel and Human Services Committee. Meet at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Vice President Jackson.
Thank you, President Cooper.
Thank you.
Reporting for the Public Works Committee. From the docket of April 21st, 2020, I move to declare the following Water Department equipment as surplus and available for disposition. All items are removed from service already. A Gould high lift pump, a used furnace burner, and a 6-inch water meter.
Second.
Thank you very much. I said earlier, if they were already removed from service, they're of no use to the water department any longer.
Great. Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, a roll call vote will start with Councillor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Gulbis,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. Desimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. I have no further business this evening for the Public Works Committee, but would like to call for a committee meeting at the appropriate time next week.
Thank you very much. Councillor Delisio.
Thank you. Reporting for budget and appropriations. I have 3 motions. One's an emergency preamble, one's the emergency measure. I move that the Attleboro Municipal Council vote to take action as provided in the city charter, section 2-9, subsection B, regarding the time-sensitive emergency to approve the expending of $53,428.78, consistent with the terms and conditions of the CARES Act relief payment.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order.
I'm going to save my comments for the actual emergency measure.
Great. Any additional comments on the preamble? Seeing none, the roll call vote is required. We'll start with Councillor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. Desimone,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delisio,
Yes.
Mr. Gulbis,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of May 5th, 2020, I entertain a motion that the Attleboro Municipal Council, as an emergency measure, approve the expending of $53,428.78, consistent with the terms and conditions of the CARES Act relief payment.
Second.
UPS.
Thank you. Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments, Councillor Delisio?
Yeah, I'll keep it brief. So, the city has received a CARES Act relief payment in the amount of $53,428.78. This payment was received as the city as a Medicare fee-for-service provider. To accept these funds from the U.S. government, the city needed to meet certain criteria as it relates to being a provider of healthcare. So, this is a lot of this money is going to be going towards is overtime. So we've seen a lot of overtime in the fire department, police department, especially as it relates to the COVID-19. Keep in mind that every time there's a patient transported with COVID-19 to the hospital, those ambulances immediately have to be disinfected. And it's not just someone going in with a Lysol wipe, has to be done professionally. And, you know, I know my role in the RV, when we disinfect one of our service centers, we have these guns that kind of look like the Ghostbusters plasma packs, but it's actually a UV light that really goes, and the UV light kills the virus dead. So, you know, I was talking with Deb Gould, who kind of walked me through what this is, what it's used for. So what we're voting on tonight is essentially to expend this money.
Yep. I just have one additional comment. I spoke to Deb. One piece is that we, in some of these things, we normally put or any other future grant amendments. We didn't put that in this motion because I wanted the council and the public to know anytime and every time we receive money from the CARES Act to the city. So it does look a little different than when we normally do some of these grants of funds, but I thought it was important for all of us to know when we received money through the CARES Act. So any other questions or comments?
I think that's a great point, Mark, and I appreciate you handling it in that manner, because I think it's important for people to see what's coming out and what's coming down from the CARES Act.
President Cooper, who was the second?
I have Councillor Vice President Jackson.
Thank you.
Any additional questions or comments? Roll call vote will begin with Councillor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Gulbis,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. Desimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. And finally, from the docket of April 7th, 2020, I move to authorize the Attleboro Public Schools to pay $186.56 from fiscal year 2019 fiscal obligations as identified in the communication from Mr. Furtado. Bill to pay NCS Pearson.
Second.
Oops, sorry, I missed it.
You weren't quick enough to the mute button. Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional questions or comments?
None. We just discussed this about 10 minutes ago.
Great. Thank you. A roll call vote is required and we'll begin with Councillor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. Desimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Mr. Gulbis,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Just another quick reminder about the drive-through food drive this Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 1 at the Sanford Street parking lot. And I would like to call for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Gulbis.
The Zoning and Land Use Committee doesn't have any business tonight and call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Councillor Dolan.
License Committee has no business tonight, and we call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time, please.
Thank you. Councillor Reynolds.
Thank you. Reporting for City Property and Claims Committee from the docket of April 21st, 2020. I entertain a motion to declare surplus and available for disposition the following copier from the Park and Forestry Department. It is a one Rico color copier, and it is in very poor condition.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional questions or comments?
I have none.
Thank you. We'll have a roll call vote and begin with Councillor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Gulbis,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. Desimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of April 21st, 2020, I entertain a motion to declare the following police vehicles as surplus and available for disposition. A 2007 Ford F-250 pickup, it's in poor condition, and a 2011 Ford Crown Vic, also in poor condition.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional questions or comments?
I have none.
We'll have a roll call vote and begin with Councillor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. Desimone,
Yes.
Bunty,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Mr. Gulbis,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of April 21st, 2020, I move to declare surplus and available for disposition the following Life Pack 15 monitor defibrillator, serial number 381-58075.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional questions or comments?
No, I do not.
Thank you. A roll call vote is required and we'll begin with Councillor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Gulbis,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Bunty,
That would be me, yes.
yes. Ms. Desimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you. From the docket of April 21st, 2020, I move to accept the generous donation of 4 copies of the resource book, India Unveiled, to the Attleboro Public Schools from Mr. and Mrs. Gupta of Carlisle, Mass.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional questions or comments?
I have none. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call vote will begin with Councillor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. Desimone,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Mr. Gulbis,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
I move to, from the docket of April 21st, 2020, I move to declare surplus and available for disposition the following vehicle from the fire department, a 2005 Ford Crown Vic, and it's in poor condition.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional questions or comments?
I have none.
A roll call vote will begin with Councillor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Gulbis,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Ms. Desimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
That is all the business the City Property and Claims Committee has this evening, but I would like to call a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. There is no old
Welcome.
business. There is, oh wait, I'm sorry. I forgot Councillor Holmes.
That's okay. Ordinance, Election and Legislative Matters Committee has no business this evening, but calls for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we can move on to, there is no old business. There is one item of new business, and I would recognize Councillor Conti.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the following item be referred to the appropriate committee for study and recommendation to introduce the revised Attleboro Municipal Council Rules of Procedures 2020 edition.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments, Councillor Conti?
Yeah, this takes a little explaining. The Rules and Procedures Committee has been meeting for, I've lost count of the number of years, to develop a contemporary rules of procedures for the municipal council. It was first drafted by Councilors Parika, Gulbis, and Conti, and I believe Councilor Cooper jumped in a few meetings. And when we had a change in the council, the committee became Councilor Desimone, Councilor Dolan, and myself. And the rules and procedures were submitted to the city solicitor. And the city solicitor sent us her comments in April. We met last week, the special committee on rules and procedures met last week, and we went through the entire document with the city solicitor's comments and developed a final document to be presented to the council. Unbeknownst to us, it had dropped off the docket somewhere between the change in administrative assistants. So this new business brings the item back onto the docket so that we can have a motion in front of the council to approve the new rules of procedure. Now, administrative assistant Virginia Stewart has a copy that she will circulate electronically to all councilors so that they will have an opportunity to review it before we take a vote. And I will be having a final review with my committee with some minor editorial changes and format changes. And Council Cooper, I understand you wish to send it out to the city solicitor one last time for review. So we may not have a new set of rules and procedures soon, but at least this will put it back on the track. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. And I would just add, thank you, Council Conti, for moving this through the process. And I think the review by the follow-up review by the solicitor could be framed by you to the things she did not review previously. So I know that I actually hijacked the hard copy that was here that Virginia printed, so she'll have to print another one because I did write some notes on it to myself. I think any of the changes or any of the suggested edits that you and your committee on the 21st would like to suggest, and any just to make sure that the operating section 3 emergency meetings and state of emergency meetings piece, I think should simply just be reviewed by her and vetted through the city solicitor. But it should really just be in an effort to be mindful of the fact that she already reviewed much of the document. If you just point her to the direction which you would like to review, I think that would be helpful, and it would get it back to you and your committee for a vote much sooner than if she had to review the whole thing again.
Well, the section on the emergency procedures came from her law firm, so I don't think she's going to have an issue with that.
But I don't know if anything's changed since, Rick. That's the only thing, is there's so many executive orders flying around that I want to make sure this is the most current. And I don't know that they sent us anything, but I don't know if there's been any changes. That's my only concern. I just don't want us to vote for anything that might have changed or that she thinks should be different.
Okay, so if the council decides to vote in the new business, I see this as the following track for this document, that the special committee on rules and procedure will meet one more time to give a look at the final document and have a discussion. And of course, that'll be on Zoom, and we'll make sure that hard copies are circulated to all councilors so that all councilors can have a hard copy in front of them before that special rules and procedures committee meeting. Following that, we will send it off to the city solicitor with a short note that basically says this has been reviewed by you before. It includes a new section from your law firm. We'd like to know if there's anything else that you think we should include. Upon hearing from her, we will again put it through the special committee on rules and procedures for one final look before we bring it up to the council for a full council vote. Does that sound like a good plan to you, Mr. President?
It does. Thank you.
I have a quick item.
Me too.
On the new business.
Yes, please.
Okay, Councilor. I heard somebody else, but I heard Councilor Gulbis.
Councillor Conti, one of the things I think we talked about doing before sending this out to the full council was I think you were going to send the document over to clean up some of the formatting pieces and to add in those 2 new items regarding virtual remote meetings to the end of the document. So if you don't mind holding off for a second and sending that over so that I can add those items and make those changes.
That has all been done and,
Oh, perfect. Then disregard.
yep, so the document you receive will have that already completed.
Thank you.
Yeah, was there somebody else that had a question
Me.
or comment?
It's me, Kate.
Oh, go ahead, Kate.
Thank you. So I just want to acknowledge, I was in the office yesterday when Virginia had just gotten an email from Councillor Conti, and she's going through the book and she's like, there's nothing in the committee. So it's great that she picked up on this like right away, so that our rules and procedures, which have been through the city solicitor, that she picked up on it quite quickly so that we didn't make any errors to make us look like we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. So I want to thank her because she did pick up on that very quickly, and she questioned, I think Councilor Blair was in the office yesterday when she was questioning all what was going on. So thank you, Virginia. You did a great job.
Yeah, I'll second that. When I came in, the books were out and open, and she said, you know, I'm just going to call Councilor Conti, and she ended up calling Richard and talking through and finding out what they found out and what Richard previously explained. So yes, thank you very much to everybody. But Virginia picked up on it this morning, and I would hate to have had voted the rules if we didn't run it through the right procedure.
President Cooper,
Yes.
if I may, I want to thank Councillor Conti for being willing to hold another committee meeting on this matter. I just joined this committee this term when I got onto the council, so this is somewhat new to me, so I appreciate the additional time to review because I think these changes are important, and I'd like to be as familiar with them as possible. So thank you, Councillor Conti.
Thank you.
President Cooper?
Yes,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, and I agree. I just came onto this committee as well, and seems to have been, you know, a little bit of confusion. So if we could just like get a final copy before, because I have like so many copies of this, and then some have solicitor notes and some don't. So if we could just get a clean copy after the solicitor, if she has any additional notes, that would be like really helpful, so I can like, because I've read it so many times now, and it's hard to figure out where the changes are when they're not really marked. So, you know, if we could just get a final copy before, so the committee can review it, that would be really helpful.
I think that's in Councilor Conti's plan that he explained.
It is. That's exactly my intention.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Okay. Roll call vote is required. We'll start with Councilor Blair. Oh, Steve, you're on mute.
Councilor Blair, Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Mrs. Desimone,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Mr. Gulbis,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes,
11 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you. Motion passes. And before we adjourn, I just quickly want to review the upcoming meetings and the public hearings scheduled for those upcoming meetings so that we're all on the same page. So on May 5th, there are street acceptance public hearings, which will, the planning office, Virginia will touch base with Stephanie to ensure that they attend through Zoom, and they'll get a participant link, and then they will be allowed to present at the direction of the council president, and then we'll move through the rest of them. We have the underground storage, which we talked about earlier, and then we have the community development block grant public hearing for the 2020 budget, 2021, I think, and then any update, no, 20, and then updates to this year's budget. Dorothy will attend the meeting and give us that update. She is aware, her and I have communicated via email. On May 19th, we have the wastewater fee public hearing, and Tom Hayes will be here for that discussion. We have the water fee discussion, public hearing, and Courtney Winchell will be here for that. She'll also be here for the Deanville Road water line, which Councilor Jackson has agreed to reach out to ensure that they are aware for the meeting on the 19th. In addition, on the 19th, we have the urban fees items that are in Councilor Conti's committee, and Virginia will reach out to Catherine Ferrick to ensure that she is available and on point for that public hearing on the 19th. And she will also reach out to Lou Stevens, the zoo director, for the zoo fee increase that is scheduled for the 19th. And those are the next meetings that we have public hearing scheduled for. So I wanted to run through that with everybody so that you knew that the chair of the department was aware. In terms of the budget submission, I did speak to the mayor over the weekend, and he will be submitting the budget. When he does that, we will likely have to have a special meeting at some point in the month of May to do that, but more to come on that once the budget is finalized and prepared for presentation to the council. With that said, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any questions or comments?
Everybody be safe and well.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. All in favor? Do we have to do a roll call vote to adjourn? That's a drag. A roll call vote with Councilor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Gulbis,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Ms. Desimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes, and stay
President
safe, all of you.
Yes.
Yep, okay. 11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes. We are adjourned at 7:17. Thank you all and stay safe.
Yes,
Thank
be
you.
safe.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Good night.
Bye.